What is your vision of what the next 5 years look like for our newer DBAs?
I would love to have that easy button. You just press the button and the job's done. Have a nice UI to say, I want this change and that change that does it all for you. We're invested into our mainframe and we see the value in it and the future in it as well.
Welcome to this segment of Mainframe Insights. My name is Samantha Buhler. I am one of the product managers at Broadcom. I'm thrilled to have Chris Muncan from Sunlife here with me today, and we're going to be discussing what it takes today to modernize in and around the mainframe.
Thank you very much, Sam. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Chris. Well, I've seen your name across the many years. I'm Chris Muncan, one of the greatest contributors or big contributors towards the user community. I think in that capacity, you've kind of moved from individual contributor as part of a user group, getting more from it than you probably contributed. But you moved towards, I think in the last year, you were the president of the iDoug North America. So in that period, can you just kind of tell me what you've observed in terms of the transformation in technology
Absolutely.
stack?
So again, I've been doing a lot of work on the user community using with DB2 and IMS as well, for both CCDoug, which is a Central Canada DB2 users group, as well as iDoug, the International DB2 users group. So they're both user group and user-run organizations where it's a week-long education on mainframes and on DB2 and how to use the mainframes in DB2 better. So I learned a lot from CCDoug and from these events, and I wanted to see how else could I give back to the community. And then that's where I joined that user group as well. And now I am the incumbent president for the Central Canada DB2 user group coming next year. So again, it's what I'm seeing is all the presentations that come along year after year. So I'm seeing those trends and changes of the technology over time. So in doing review, even for iDoug, reviewing, I think, I want to say close to 3,000 submissions in the past 7 years that I've been on the committee. So I've reviewed a lot of documentation, a lot of presentations. So you get a good sense of what the trends and directions are for the current climate and the current environment for what we're working on the mainframe. And what I've seen is there's been a big push towards the whole shift left, getting the developers the ability to do a lot of their own work and not being reliant on, let's say, the DBAs.
But aren't you pushing your DBAs out of a job in that case?
Sense? Well, yeah, that's almost a loaded question because it is and it isn't. It's getting the administration day-to-day type of activity that bogs us down from doing the cool new things or from really growing the business forward. And so if we're stuck doing that day-to-day support, we can't grow the business further. Because there's only one of me, I can't be doing two jobs at the same time. So I can't also be doing modernization and fully supporting an environment. We have to be able to do both at the same time.
Yeah. And I think you spent your entire career at Sunlife then?
For the first part, I was at Manulife. So again, another insurance company. So still stayed within the fintech industry. So I was at Manulife for about 15 years. And now I'm at Sunlife for 2.5 years. But it's been a great learning experience. Although it's a different shop, there's still similarities. You're still using a mainframe, you're still using DB2, but there are still very, very different amongst how organizations work. And it's great to get different insight into similar organizations, but different way of doing things.
Okay. And I think in your role at Sunlife, it's more sort of the board-looking type of technology, right? You're kind of responsible for what's next or what Sunlife should be embracing at the moment. Can you share with us, what are some of the criteria you're looking for in terms of a modern tool?
Right. So what we're looking at is some of the more modern way of doing things. If we look at some of our administration tooling, if it's the RC Query suite or the RC Migrator, it's how can we do that same task and give it to somebody that maybe doesn't know the mainframe away from a 3270 terminal into a new UI and doing the same task that a more experienced DBA was doing. So this way we can free up that experienced DBA to do other more future scope work. And again, and that's what I'm kind of focusing on is how can we achieve that? How can we bring in new tooling to alleviate and free up some of those resources for our DBAs?
In fact, we just recently published an ebook where we talked about how Sunlife has implemented dashboards based on the SysView APIs that we've delivered. Now, what prompted you guys to implement dashboards? And that second question is, what were your expectations implementing these dashboards?
So one of the criteria was we needed to be fully observable into our enterprise solution. For observability, we need to have a way that we could bring DB2 and the mainframe into that stack as well. Because we already had our distributed servers being observable, but a mainframe wasn't in the same technology stack. So we had to bring that and make it observable there. So that was the key. The second part is also, we have a lot of senior staff that are coming up too that are either retired or retiring. And, they have a lot of domain knowledge with them. They have the knowledge and then the years of expertise that some of the more junior staff don't have. That it will take time to get there. They will, all of us, we will get there once we're all at the company for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yep.
We'll all have that domain knowledge, but it's not there yet for all the newer DBAs. So then how do we kind of remove a bit of that abstraction from the mainframe and make it more easier to ingest from I'd say a newer grad that's very familiar with more intuitive UI, more click and point, more visual.
Well, the new grads won't have the battle scars that your experienced DBAs have gone through. So how would you replicate that? I'm sure like a new tool can provide them with a new interface and a way of, getting to know the mainframe. But that experience of making mistakes and the scars that you've gotten from that is hard to duplicate.
Some of those scars, though, Sam, I would love to not have some of those scars. And I'm sure that some of the battle stories that we've all had along the way, yes, they're great learning experiences. It's how you really learn, really in depth into a system from those mistakes. But also at the same time, if we can prevent a lot of those mistakes by giving a good, clean, crisp UI into something that's very manageable and usable by an end user from any level, and they can use it and not cause those mistakes, then they can use DB2, and again, then they can move off to other areas as well and grow the company outside of just being a DBA. That's
great. I'm really glad to hear that the mainframe seems to be at the center of everything you guys seem to do at Sunlife.
Mm-hmm. So the mainframe is, we're invested into our mainframe, and we see the value in it in the future in it as well.
Yep. And also what I sort of heard from you was this sense of urgency and need to modernize. And what I've had these similar conversations with customers over the last 2 decades, and every time I have a conversation, it seems like DBAs are having to do more with less, and they're looking at modernization. But it's only recently that I feel like the conversation has taken a turn. It's more urgent now. It's more they have senior leadership to push the modernization effort versus a nice to have. Is that sort of what's going on with you guys?
When you do say that, I do see some of that, and I do hear some of that as well, that there is more of that sense of urgency. And what I'm seeing is that it could very well be a sense of their senior staff are going to be leaving soon.
So it's finally hit home.
So it's finally hit home for a lot of people that, we finally come to that cusp. It's like all those people now have hit retirement age or coming up to, and wanting to retire and go off into the sunset and relax and enjoy retirement fully.
Yes.
But you still need, to train up your younger staff, the new staff that don't have that experience. So and that's where I think now we've just hit that critical point, the tipping point. So I think that now the modernization is here, and we need to address it now. Absolutely. And it was spoken about years ago. I want to say, over 5 years ago, I started hearing all the talks about Zoe and it's going to change the world. And it is, just not then. It is now. So it's finally coming to a head, and now things are growing with it.
Well, mainframers are always very slow to adopt, right? You're skeptical people that, it has to be proven technology before you put it into production.
Absolutely. It has to be
stable.
So
you're seeing that Zoe has become stabilized, and you think we are going to get there?
I think it's becoming a lot more more of an industry standard. I'm seeing a lot more of the products that are coming out, not just from Broadcom, but from IBM, from BMC, all the vendors that are supplying products for mainframes. Zoe seem to be at the core of their tools. So it almost seems like you have to have Zoe there to be able to really use the full functionality of the tools, or otherwise you'll just get a limited functionality, or you may have a lot more tweaking to do when you first set it up. So Zoe definitely makes things a lot simpler.
Okay. So given what you've been able to implement with our Broadcom APIs, what is your vision of what the next 5 years look like for our newer DBAs?
I would love to have that easy button. You just press the button and the job's done, right? Like have a nice UI to say, I want this change and that change that does it all for you. I could definitely see us getting to that point of being more of a click and point and almost like a shopping cart, right? So you need to make schema changes. You need to make all these changes. Your app teams can do that all because we're going to have all these pipelines all developed. That's what I kind of envision, right? So we have all these proven pipelines that are going to do all these tasks for us, integrate with all of our tools, and it'll be the application team, and we're there on the sidelines to make sure that the database is stable, the database is performant.
So you see your job as sort of just an observer in the future. All the hard work's been done by the application team, and you're just there to approve. Is that what you envision? You're here to push that button?
Here to push that button, that's right.
All right. Well, I'm really thankful for your optimism. Thanks for sharing. and glad to have you today.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much.
If you would like a copy of the ebook that Chris and I co-wrote, please reference the QR code to start on your modernization journey.